Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, people of the internet. It is Mardi Gras. So happy Mardi Gras to my people out there celebrating. Also, happy birthday to me, man. 37 years old and out of control. And I get the best gift of all. I get to spend it with you and this amazing guest. Guys, if you were here, you were here for the Grow Show, your daily checkup from the neck up, your daily chance to get your day started in the best possible way. Guys, my name is Kyle Evans out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, your maps coach of all the things. And let's not wait another second. Guys, I have been chasing this guest like a lion and an antelope because this dude is just pure energy bottled up into a human being. He just brings joy. I get to follow him on the socials and enjoy some of his broadcasts, and some of the things that he puts out there just always makes me feel better watching him than when I started. This guy is the name of his town, Mr. Myrtle Beach. He has done a ton of things. He has been successful. And one of the things that we're going to talk about, he has not been successful, guys. He is so open and honest. And I truly believe, and I know you do as well, man, we learn a lot more through our failures, and vulnerability and openness is the best path of connection. And so the gift that this guy's going to bring us today is super awesome. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, the future bold coach, in my opinion, Mr. Myrtle Beach, G.R.O.W.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you for having me, and happy birthday.
Hey, thank you.
It's an honor to be here on your birthday. I was going to be in a cake, but I decided that was going to get messy.
Hey, man, the suit's beautiful as it is, man. You got it rocking and rolling today. Guys, because I'm from Baton Rouge, he wore a red tie, you know, the little red stick that we are here in the South. Jay, for the people that don't know you, who have not had the privilege to watch your updates and your broadcasts of Mr. Myrtle Beach on the socials, who are you, man? Give us a 30, 60-second bio. Tell us about you.
Sure, absolutely. Well, first of all, like I said, thanks for having me. G.R.O.W. I am a individual agent with some admin support here in the Myrtle Beach market. Came here 7 years ago from Pennsylvania, left my job as a career fireman and moved here with about $10,000 in my pocket and $5,000 a month worth of bills, and said, well, I better figure this out. And here we are 7 years later, one of the top 1% agents. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with K.W., my agent partners, family, friends, and referral agents. It's a team effort. So.
Wow, so humble, Jay. Jeez, Louise. Guys, this dude is humble, man. Top 1% agent. He's like, it's not me, it's them. Like, come on, man. How can you not like this guy? I would like to go on a limb here and say that there are a lot of people who have great people surrounding them, and they're still not a top 1% agent, Jay. It goes to show your hard work, your hustle, and in my opinion, your care for people, dude. Like, you came from a service background of being a fireman, and that is a very unselfish role, man. That is a calling, in my opinion, higher than yourself, right? Putting your life on the line sometimes to help and save others. And I'm glad, or at least I hope, you don't have to put your life on the line every day selling homes, but you get to help people.
You know what? Where I first started selling homes in Pennsylvania, I did put my life on the line every day, but that's a different story.
Jay, one of the things when we were talking about what to talk about today, guys, Jay was like, you know, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, nah, man, what do you want to talk about? What is the message that you got with the world? And he shared with me his journey in 2023 and his subsequent journey in 2024. And so, Jay, I don't want to take away from your amazing storytelling. Walk us through that, man. What was 2023 like for you?
Sure. So 2023 was really interesting. In fact, to get to 2023, if I could go back just a little bit,
Sure.
to 2020. So I moved to the area in 2018, and our market center was going through some interesting ownership changes and whatnot. So leadership was kind of disarray, and the OP came to me and was like, hey, can you be the productivity coach? We need somebody. Hey, can you be the team leader? We need somebody. Hey, can you be this? And that I loved all that. So for the first couple of years of being here, I was really in this hybrid role of leadership, getting the market center together, and also trying to build my own brand and relationships, here in our market. And January of 2020, that kind of stopped. They said, hey, COVID, market center wasn't sure what was going on. You have to go back into production, like 100% production. Well, that's cool. It's January 25th and the world is ending and I have to go back into production with your pipeline. So that's really cool. Long story short, by September of 2020, that was probably my busiest month actually at that point in time. Got an assistant, got an admin, decided to start growing on that side. 2023 was awesome. It was, post-COVID. Everybody in our area, and I know a lot of probably states like yours as well, we saw a lot of influx from people, kind of a lot of moving around in the country. And so we had, we still have these residual effects of, growth and people coming here. So 2023 was my best year, closed about 60-ish units. I think it was 61 or 62. I don't know where they fell in December or January. About 60 units as an individual with an admin, 550 grand in GCI, like super awesome. Now I didn't blow through it all. I did buy investment properties and things like that. But one of the things that I told you was, I grew up broke. So sure. Not that money was never there. It's just money never had any intrinsic value. To me, it was just made up, right? So when you've got 500,000 in your bank, even as a grown man, it's like, wow, okay. And instead of buying like race cars and horses or whatever, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to buy. Look, if I had money to buy whatever I want, but we did spend it on smart things, in investments and things. But that created a liquidity problem.
Sure.
Simultaneously, and this is kind of I think where we were leading. At the end of 2023, I was burnt out. Right, a lot of people I think in the industry have either felt that, feel it at times. One thing I think about is when Gary says, after 24 transactions or so, it's likely that you need some sort of admin support. Mm-hmm. And what a lot of people don't realize is, okay, well, that's annualized. So by the time you realize that you've done 24 transactions in a year, that's 2 a month. So that first month that you close 3, or those first 2 months back to back that you close 3 transactions, you are already, over budget in time and effort. So with that being said, the burnout was real. I kind of went internal a little bit and realized, hey, you know what? There's a lot going on. Needed to start working on my mental health. Reached out, which something particularly with men, but women, of course, as well. I've seen a lot lately, and I don't know if it's post-COVID, if it's something, in the water or whatever, but there seems to be a lot of people, particularly in our business, who are stressed out and sure. feel they don't have anywhere to go or talk to. And I think a lot of that comes with kind of what we're talking about now are these expectations that we've set for others about ourselves. And now we're committed to keeping them, but we're not committed to the actions that we need to take in order to make that a real reflection of who you are.
Yeah.
Right. So with all that being said, I stopped drinking in 2023, at the end of 2023. Didn't even know that I had a problem, just knew that it was interacting with some of the medication I was taking. So I
sure.
kind of pulled back. The amount of clarity that came with that. But I'll tell you what, and I want to say this, and again, I'm sorry. I told you to cut me off if I talk too much.
No, man, keep going. This is good.
What I want to say about that, though, is I think the scariest thing about stopping, whether it's drinking, smoking, whatever, habit that is, and look, there's no bad habits, right? Mm-hmm. It's just how you react to your habits. Well, I think most people, it's uncomfortable, right? So you are afraid of it and you don't want to do it. It's, hey, I don't like how I feel doing X, so I'm going to do Y instead. Well, I'll tell you, when you stop drinking and you realize that your brain has been wired, and what's crazy is I was able to operate a business, right? So now I pull that away, that's that depressant away, and it was like I had to relearn myself. So seriously, and that's what I was getting at is, if you feel like you're failing or like, oh, I stopped this or I quit doing that and I feel terrible about myself. Why? It was really interesting because my brain was different. So I was approaching situations differently. The chemistry and the physiology of my brain was different. So 2024, this whole past year has been a year of me throttling down in business and making sure that I've worked on myself. Kyle, maybe you can help me here. I always forget what this is called. The exercise with the 7 groups.
The 7 circle exercise from the one thing.
Yeah. So the 7 circle exercise, every time I would do that with my coach, it was, business is an 8, finances are a 7, work is a 9, family is a 4, health is a 3. Well, last year I lost 40 pounds. I again got that clarity. Oh, he's a lot more jacked, but I'm wearing a suit, so you can't tell.
Can't tell. It's there. It's there.
Yeah. But just, started eating healthy, just taking care of me and making sure that I was open to receiving everything that the universe had for me. And I'll tell you, like I was telling you before the call, this past week was pretty hard. I had to fire my ops manager, who's my brother. He's been with me for 3 years. And this weekend, again, just being open and saying, I'm doing something different, because if we continue to do things that we've always done, we're going to continue to get the things we've always gotten, right? So it's like, hey, 6 months of, not seeing an ROI on this, it's not working. And this is unfortunate. And I'm ready to go to the moon. So if you're not going to get on the rocket ship, that doesn't serve my why.
Sure.
Sorry, that was a lot.
A lot to unpack there, which I love, because, like, guys, here's the thing, man. This dude was on Mount Olympus as a essentially solo agent, just with some help from his brother as an admin, and the courage. And so I'll give you some compliments here. The courage to look in the mirror and question, am I truly living my best life? Or am I just hanging some numbers that I can put on my Instagram bio?
Yeah.
Right. The courage to face those demons and be like, man, what am I doing that I could be doing better? And it resulted, obviously, like you said, in your health, I'm going to assume, being maybe some of the best it's ever been, right? 40 pounds down. Like, that's incredible.
Literally the weight that I was when I got out of the fire academy. And again, this, if for anybody who's looking for health advice, I'm not one to give it, but I don't go to the gym. This is just eating right and not. And then think about that. Like, now, in terms of your business, right? Like, I'm going to just think about, what are you feeding your business? What kind of leads are you feeding your business? Are you doing the activities that are generating nutritious building blocks for your business, or are you filling it with processed, fake 45% leads from some crappy lead source that is going to pay you at closing, or you're going to be paid at closing? Come on.
Dude, that's so good, right? We are what we consume in our personal life and our business. And so, like, you took a step back and did that. And so I know I have your permission to ask this question, but I want people to follow along here. He made a big turn. He made a big change. He looked in the accountability mirror and said, okay, if it's to be, it's up to me. So what happened with the business in 2024? Because 2023, we're on Mount Olympus.
Yeah. So, and in fact, one thing, just to maybe connect with whoever's listening, the cool thing about 2023 was that was also the first year that the #1 solo agent in our office was, and again, I'm not a competitive person, at least I didn't think I was, the first time in 9 years that they were unseated as like the top agent. So, it's just like, wow, everything's amazing. And I spent maybe 5 minutes at our awards banquet, hey, yeah, thanks. Okay, see you later. And it's like, wait a second. No, you did something really, really awesome. But going into 2024, we closed about 40 transactions.
So 60 to 40.
Yeah. So, and that's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when I thought that was impossible, right? Like, when I was first starting out just a few years ago here in this market, I was like, oh man, I just want to do 10 deals. I just want to do 12 deals. So I know it sounds like a lot who cares? It's 40, geez. And the thing is, though, that's a business. That's not my income. That's, my employees, my marketing. And, I really turned all of that down. And yet simultaneously, the personality side of my business got stronger, which is kind of cool, but it's also hard to duplicate. So,
well, it's an interesting statement, right? And one of the things that is tough or challenging for people to understand and wrap their hands around is, guys, the saying that sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. Sometimes you have to let go of some things to move faster. On paper, it looks like he's making the wrong decision, but he's not, right? He's comfortable and courageous enough to be like, hey, man, this no longer serves me of who I desire to be. And then, like he said, he had to relearn himself and relearn what it's going to look like. And I have no doubt in my mind, brother man, that 2025, 2026 and beyond are going to be some of your best years yet, because you're taking care of you. And we know when we invest in ourselves personally, that everything else kind of goes up from there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. One thought one aha that I had while you were speaking there is kind of around that clarity where, a lot of real estate agents say, we're on that roller coaster,
Sure.
right? That sales roller coaster. Well, what's interesting is look at, I would challenge, or not challenge, but I would ask for anyone who feels that roller coaster to also look inside and say, do I feel that roller coaster in my personal life? Right? I'll tell you what, I was okay with the fact that, every 3 months or so, I have a week or two where I am just a miserable, terrible person. And that's okay, because that's who I am.
Justifying it, right?
Exactly. And A, that's not who I am. B, I'm just explaining it, because if I explain it enough, people will believe it. Just like when I told them I'm Mr. Myrtle Beach.
Yes.
But the thing is, though, like, now I lost it. I go on a tangent. I totally lose it. I'm sorry.
Is it showing up anywhere else in your life, in your personal life? Yeah.
Right. So with that, we say, hey, change what you're doing. Change. If something's not serving you, stop doing it and find something else. And what's weird is we don't look at the habits that are under the surface. And again, I don't mean to make this about, stop drinking. I'm not one of those, crazy people. It's like, you must stop. But what's weird is, I can say, well, wait a second, I'm going to the gym. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm doing all the things. I'm knocking on doors, and I say, okay, that's all wonderful. And is there something inside, either in here or in here, that isn't working at 100%? And you might not even realize it, because, that's just how it's always been.
No, right? And guys, we say this on the show all the time. Self-awareness is the key to self-mastery. Self-awareness is the key to growth. Honesty is the fertile soil in which we all grow in. And unfortunately, I mean, myself included, guys, I'm not talking at you, I'm talking with you. Unfortunately, sometimes we don't want to be honest. We don't want to look at our demons, at our shadows, at the skeletons in the closet and face them, because sometimes being blissfully ignorant is a better choice, or the perception of that is a better choice.
And what's interesting about that too is we don't necessarily like to look in the mirror because it hurts or it's uncomfortable, right? And I think I'm going to speak for myself. I won't speak for anybody else. There are times where I feel that imposter syndrome, and I think that a lot of people probably do. I had to tell myself, well, if you're feeling like an imposter, it's likely because you are. Well, and I think about this, right? In the sense that
Jay chose violence today, ladies and gentlemen.
I was talking about myself, right?
Sure.
Well, no, I am an imposter. And what I'll say to that is, I have a great business. I have a great network of friends, colleagues, top agents across the country. I have, in my opinion, I could not be blessed with what I have more. And yet, like you said, on paper, everything looks, hey, you're not doing the right thing, or, is this okay? Gosh, I keep getting distracted. I'm so sorry. Where was I going with that, Kyle?
Imposter syndrome.
Yes. See, what I was getting at, though, is we oftentimes say, hey, look, I closed 60 transactions. Oh, I did this. I made this much money. Look at my clients love me. My clients gave me 100 reviews this year. Oh, it's so great. All of these things are facts. They're true. And they're good to you because they make you feel good. You can share that. That's all wonderful. But you feel like an imposter because you're not doing the things you're supposed to. That's the only thing. I know I'm not lead genning the way I'm supposed to. I know that when my phone rings and someone goes, hey, I have somebody who wants to put an offer in on a house, but they don't have an agent in Myrtle Beach. Can you help them? They're writing it today. Well, that deal's going to close just the same as any other deal, but I didn't lead generate for it. But I did. I built my relationships with people. I talked to people. So like, it's one of those things where if you want to be someone, think about how, or you want to be that version of yourself. Would that version of yourself be making the decision that you're making today? Right?
Woo! That, sir, is a good question. Hey, man, the future me or the person I desire to be, would they make the same decision today that I'm making?
Yeah.
That's a tough one to marinate on.
If it's not the same decision, you're probably not going to be that person one day.
So I think that's part of the imposter syndrome that you spoke on, right? It's the friction between, hey, this is who I desire to be or who I'm trying to present as, but I'm not making the decisions that I'm supposed to be making.
Exactly.
It's that misalignment.
Yeah, absolutely. And the awareness of it too, right? I mean, I think it's okay if we say, hey, I have an awesome business and I know that there are pinholes in it. And I know that, you know, we're going to break the systems to put the systems back together and make it work. And that's I'll tell you, when I hired my admin, it's the same kind of feeling I'm having now. One of the things that I heard at G.R.O.W that really changed my life was there's always going to be a breakdown before the breakthrough. So, I'm not saying this as a, you know, future bold coach or anyone who's going to BS you on anything, but it's the truth, you know? I don't know.
That's solid, man. Jay, you know, summing this up, guys. First off, thank you for your transparency, because not everybody is willing or, in my opinion, courageous enough to do so. And I truly believe that people get blessed when they feel the grace to know that it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to not have the answer to everything. It's okay to be a mess sometimes. It's the second question that you keep asking yourself is, great, what now? Or what am I going to do about it now? What step forward am I going to take? And so thank you on that, man. Guys, you just heard from a man who built a great business and then realized something was missing internally and made the shift. So the question that he had for you is, are you making the same decisions that the person you desire to be would make? Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Gray out of South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, Mr. Myrtle Beach himself, Jay Gray, to leave these people with a little wisdom nugget, a little Jayism. What do you got for the people before we send them on their way this morning?
Well, I think this kind of goes back to what we were just talking about, where when we have the breakdown before the breakthrough, right? When you have that mindset, nothing is scary. Like I told you, you know, right now, I'm not going to get into the exacts, but on paper, I'm not the most financially stable person right now. And guess what? That means that I have the opportunity to go out and earn that business, build my pipeline, and then come back on your show in 6 months or, you know, 8 months, 9 months, whatever, and say, hey, remember we talked about that last time? Look at this. So what I would leave the people with is, think of the worst fear that you have, the worst thing that could ever happen to you. And as long as that thing doesn't occur, are you okay with anything else in life? Like I always used to be afraid of, you know, when the end comes and I leave my family and I leave this earth, and, you know, I know everyone has their beliefs, right? But it was always like, well, what if there isn't? That's the scariest thing to me, right? And I was like, well, guess what? Anything, I know that's going to happen. So anything else up until that point, I can figure out, because there's always going to be a tomorrow.
Man, well said, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Gray, the personification right now of charging the storm, what Keller Williams is all about. Jay, thank you for being here with us today, man. Always a pleasure. Guys, if you have somebody in Myrtle Beach who needs an amazing person and an amazing agent to help them, go see my man. Follow him on the socials for some awesome updates. And we'll leave you with that, man. Jay, thank you for being here, brother.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
See you guys tomorrow.